Now, among the iconic symbols of that city, and these are things that you cannot possibly miss when you walk around the city there, all the bicycles, both those that are being ridden on the streets and those that are racked up by the dozens on the sidewalk. The reason for all those bicycles may surprise you a little bit. As Clean Skies' Lee Patrick Sullivan discovered, that reason has more to do with energy policy than it does with health policy.
It's an average day for Copenhagen resident Alberta Westergaard. Every morning, Monday through Friday, she's out the door at 7:30 a.m. for her morning commute on her bike. We decided to join her and see what it's like to hit the streets of Copenhagen.
Hey, how are you?
Hi Lee, how are you?
Great. You ready for this ride?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a 5-mile journey from Alberta's home to her office. And on this day, there was slight rain mixed with snow. Temperature right around freezing.
You do this every single day?
Every single day, and I've been doing it every single day ever since I was little, you know. And now it's just natural for me to go anywhere on my bike.
Why don't you take your car?
Well, I don't own a car.
Alberta didn't get her license taken away, and she's not a health nut. She rides in the rain 10 miles round trip, well, because she's Danish. Bikes in Denmark are as common as boots in Texas. And rain or shine, they hit the streets. Legs a-pumping, spokes a-spinning.
And if it snows, you stay home, right?
Not at all. I get out. I need to get out.
A full 40% of residents of Copenhagen ride a bike to work. That's nearly 500,000 cyclists a day. Danish officials expect that number to reach 50% in the next 5 years. Compare that to the U.S., where less than 0.5% ride a bike to work on nice days.
You realize that this is my wife's worst nightmare, on a bike and in the cold.
Well, it's not so bad.
The Danish biking craze took off during the oil crisis of the 1970s. Gasoline was so scarce there was a ban on driving private automobiles on Sunday. Now, some 35 years later, an entire generation of Danes have grown up pedaling.
It's not normal for a teenager or a person in, I don't know, their early 20s or whatever, to have a car. That's just not normal. It's too expensive. Way too expensive.
How expensive? You may want to take a seat for this one. The Danish government's energy policy is largely based on conservation, using less electricity, using less gasoline. Let's use the top-selling car in America as an example, the Toyota Corolla. It's about a $20,000 car. Now add in the 25% Danish tax on most goods, and then add another, are you ready for this? Another 185% tax because it has an internal combustion engine. So your $20,000 car now costs you 70 grand. But wait, the Danish tax man isn't finished. Those prices right there, they're in Danish kroners. It works out to be about $8.50 a gallon, of which $5 are taxes.
I think Denmark is a very clear example that you can influence the way people are acting. We have very high taxes on cars, but also on gasoline, also on power, on oil. All energy is very highly taxed. Therefore, we have more consciousness to reduce consumption than you see in most countries. So people insulate their houses, they use a bike, and they change their lifestyle due to the high taxes.
Add to that another special tax on car insurance, and I think you'd even convince this Motown native to give up his ride.
I remember my hand signals from 6th grade.
The flip side is the Danish government makes it easy to bike. In the past 5 years, the city of Copenhagen has spent more than $50 million expanding a network of bike lanes, ramps, and racks. And when it snows, it's Copenhagen law that the bike lanes get cleared before the roads.
This bike path is elevated from the street. It's not just painted on.
No, because it's safer. Then we don't have to worry about the cars or like the buses.
And Copenhagen's bike culture has caught the attention of world leaders. They're looking at Denmark's bikes as a way to solve traffic congestion and limit CO2 emissions. But for Copenhageners like Alberta Westergaard, she looks at her own bike as a way to get to work.
Well, we didn't get this bike just for the purposes of this story. We've actually been using it the past 2 weeks here at the Climate Talks. It's part of a free bike loan program they have going on down at the Bella Center. The Danish government has a similar program in downtown Copenhagen. You put 20 kroners in a machine, you use the bike as long as you want. When you return it, you get your 20 kroners back. It's all in an effort to get people out of their cars and onto their bikes. In Copenhagen, Denmark, I'm Lee Patrick Sullivan, Clean Skies News.